Hey guys, what's up and welcome back. Been a little while since our last update. We basically left off with doing high level pits, not high level like tier 70 pits, but high enough to fight the Tormented Bosses. So we fought Tormented Duriel and then did a bunch of the level 100 Duriels and Undariel runs, right? So since then what we've done is we've started a second Barbarian character, and we started it during the anniversary event, which gave a ton of bonus XP. And the process wasn't that fast. I'm not like power leveling these guys, right? It's Sunday, and I think the event started maybe on Thursday. So it took me 4 days to get my guy to this point. And now at level 90, that unlocks my stash, right? So all of the items that were in my stash were either level capped at 80 or 90. So like some of this gear is required level 90. Now I thought that 80 was the cap, but obviously that's not correct, right? Like a piece here or there is 80, but all of these tempered legendaries and even some of the uniques look to be 90, right? So we were just going around in our World Tier 3, World Tier 4 build, and then now we can switch back into the max roll endgame Dust Devils. So that's what we're going to do. Putting on all the tempered or the masterworked gear. And then now we just need to switch our skill tree. And then hopefully our reses, we can fix those as well. So let's unsocket the jewelry. And then I guess we're not too attached to any of this gear. Like some of it's got greater affixes, but it doesn't really matter. Like an 841 piece, a 914 piece. This one's actually decent. This might be a upgrade. Max life and damage. Damage while berserking. Dust Devil size. I might keep that one. At 8. This one's pretty good. It's got the greater affix CDRs, definitely felt. And there's really not much... there's not much wrong with this one because the armor on it doesn't matter too much. Maybe we'll keep the rest of these pieces. We'll just stash them in here for now. Okay, and then now we need to do the... So one thing I noticed is a lot of the content creators don't always have their expertises maxed out. And that should be taken as very suspicious in my opinion, because it doesn't take much energy at all to max any of these out, especially in the Hell Tides. You literally just have to, as you're leveling, like, use a two-handed axe for like 10 minutes, and you'll get this to level 10. So I never understand how they don't have all these maxed out. Okay, and then now we need to respec just a little bit, so that stays like that, that stays like that. We switch that one there. We come out of shouts a little bit. We're definitely in imposing presence and martial vigor. We can only afford one there. We max this out. And then we need to take one out of there and put that there. And then we need concussion ranks on our equipment, which we're currently missing. That's a big deal, actually. So what should I come out of? Need to borrow a point from somewhere. Yeah, combat lunging strike, I guess, is the best place. Okay. Okay, and then let's just make sure our thing looks correct. So we generally like it like that with leap on 3. So we like the bludgeoning here, and then basically everything needs to have bludgeoning. So when we're doing lunging strike, we're using dual wield, and it's getting faster attack speed, and it's getting a mace which can synergize with concussion and wallop. And then charge and leap also use the two-handed mace. And then with Yen's blessing, we're going to have the permanent rallying cry uptime. Alright, so our resistance is kind of low, so we'll put 1, 2, and then an emerald and call it a day. Sapphire. Okay, that's kind of good enough for where we're at, and we can just take Soothing Spices to make up the gap. We're getting to the point where we're constrained on bundled herbs, which is good. So we farmed up a ton of Angel's Breath, leveling this character up in the Helltide, and constantly going through consumables, right? So what we weren't doing was using the Angel's Breath for rerolls. And that's the trap. If you chase the affixes that have a low probability of rolling, you'll blow through your Angel Breath. But if you just farm the Helltide, farming like the mini bosses and the chests, whether it's the Tormented Gifts or the resplendent chests from the events, that's how you load up on the Angel Breath, and then you load up on the bundled herbs just by doing the Legion events. You get about 1,000. It's like 950 or something like that. So we'll take a Soothing Spice, we'll take an Anti-Venom, and then we just need a type 1, and Spirit Dance is kind of a good choice sometimes, actually. And then we can just get the seasonal elixir from the obols. Fuck it. Okay. Okay. So now our consumables are loaded up. And our experience bonus is at 420.6%. So this is from the Mother's Blessing, which is saying 25% experience boost and 50% gold. I guess they just literally patched that. It was going to be, I think it was 35% before. And then there's more treasure goblins, and the treasure goblins drop treasure bags. We'll put those treasure bags in our inventory. The Anti-Venom Cheater Potion, Holy Bolts, which is OP in the Helltide, and then the 2 highest incense that we can take right now. Spirit Dance, which is unlocked at level 80, but it's a type 1 incense just for dodge, because if you don't need the resistances, there's kind of nothing that's good. What we could do is, instead of that, go Cold and Shadow on Desert Escape, and then shore up our resistances, which is a better choice. And then we'll just eat another brain so that our thing looks nice. Oh, nope, didn't make a difference. Okay, so now let's go into the Helltide. Oh, it's in Kielvished, perfect. So we're on our last tier of Iron Wolf reward for this character, which is the point of me making the video. We farm the Helltide a little bit, we'll get the Greater Spark, and then we'll craft a Shako. And that Shako is the endgame item for our Bash Barb. So what we'll do is we'll just do a event or two, rotate over to the Blood Maiden, kill the Blood Maiden, and that should be good. And then we can check, so it's Harbingers and Demons for the Whisper rewards. And then there's the regular Whispers aren't in this area. So there's only Whispers for the overall Helltide zones. Just gotta remember the playstyle for Yen's Blessing, which is Shout on cooldown. Use Wrath of the Berserker to get Berserking started. And then our Paragon board isn't built out at all. We haven't leveled any glyphs up. We haven't really been giving any consideration to what the end state of the board is supposed to look like. We're just going to level up to 100 and then do the board at once. And when we get the last Iron Wolf's cache, we'll switch into doing Nightmare Dungeons instead of Hell Tides. So we're almost there. And then you may notice I've got a dog running around collecting mats. He's also being affected by my shouts. And that's because they just released a patch today to go along with the DLC or expansion. They did like the event for the Microsoft event that announced the expansion. So as part of that, they released all of the premium microtransactions associated with the pre-orders. But everyone gets a companion, a pet, which is good. And then some people even have the pre-order wings, so it's not an emote, but just actual wings that you can equip. And then they've got like cat mounts, like tiger mounts, as well as horses now. And they've got all different skins for the pet. And I can imagine that you're going to be able to earn other skins for the pet, just like you can earn other mounts. But he should just be like a little bit of a quality of life update, making it so the stuff on the ground gets picked up a little more judiciously. Like, is he going to get all that stuff? Yep. We don't have Ancestral Charge anymore. Got to keep that in mind. We haven't been using Leap at all, which is like the main reason that we switch into this build. But you can do nice stuff like that and traverse the terrain. There's the quality of life update where you can see the consumables that you're picking up. So we can see the 10 angel breath from that resplendent chest, which is why I like to do those. When you're fighting the Blood Maiden, you're not getting the benefit of the obols or the angel breath. So I like to rotate it in. Usually if I have a full hour, what I'll do is I'll do an event rotation in a zone, get the Gift of Living Steel and the Mystery Chest, and then I'll do the Blood Maiden until I have enough to get all the smaller chests. It's kind of a fun way to play it. Alright, let's do the Blood Maiden turn in. Hopefully we can solo the Blood Maiden. There we go. Got interrupted a few times, that's okay. So we should have a lot of fury on kill, so we might be able to get away with this. Pick up some stuff. Drop the crappy stuff on the ground. Okay, let's do another turn in. How people never have the mats, I don't understand. So we can gather up a bunch of cinders now, maybe do an event rotation, and then get a bunch of the small chests. We don't really need any more living steel. At least not until our Stygian stone count catches up. You get living steel from the tiny chests anyway. Alright, I'm getting some 1,000,000-point hits here, and my Twister Glyph isn't even leveled. Anyone else want to turn in? Turn-ins? Do you guys want to turn in? I'll do it if you don't got it. I just can't believe they don't have the... Are they playing the game? They don't have the hearts? How can you be leveled up and not have a stockpile of these painful hearts? Doesn't make sense. And you don't want the credit for the loot? Maybe they don't know. Maybe they don't know they get better drops from the Blood Maiden if they turn in. Hellborn dropping almost exclusively yellow is just obnoxious. Okay, that's enough runs of the Blood Maiden. While we're leveling to 100, we're just doing mats over selling. So basically anything that doesn't have a greater affix is garbage. So that's just literally all junk. And then you look at the greater affix stuff. None of that's any good. And then you look at your uniques. So you can basically sell... Oh, careful. Gotta be careful because of stuff like that when you're playing with the space bar. You basically salvage those and sell the unique. The unique's worth, like, I don't know, for its slot, 10 times the value of the legendary. Doesn't really make a difference. At some point, you're going to have enough. So when I was making this character, I probably used 5,000 plus veiled crystals on imprints, and then I kind of stopped imprinting because of how many crystals it was using. So I would still try and have a stockpile of like 10,000 crystals, 3,000 each of the sub mats, 1,000 angel breath, and like 10,000 bundled herbs would probably be a good amount for just like a stockpile so that you can just play the guy. And then you should be fine on gems because you can just recycle all the gems that you're not using. And then after that, just gold. The best way to do gold is either the Whispers or participating in the trade economy is better. Some items sell for like 1 billion gold apparently, which is just crazy. Right, but for example, we can vendor one more time. When you're leveling, it's just more convenient to do it like this. And then you can kind of filter through and see if your thing is like good, if it's got an ability on it. But like our codex is, because we've been playing so much Barbarian, our codex is basically maxed out. We've got all of the defensive aspects maxed out. We've got all the offensive aspects maxed out. We've got all of the utility maxed out. I believe we're missing 1 mobility. Yep, Wind Striker. And then resource, we need 2 or 3. Yeah, 3. And our bear clan is kind of low. So if we were rolling anything like obols, we would roll rings to try and fill this out. Or if we get a whisper cache, we get rings to try and fill that out. Alright, let's finish picking up our garbage. I keep hitting the button like it's 2 shouts. Re-up our Holy Bolt. I'm going to start opening some chests. So basically now we can just go around the zone, opening the smaller chests for the reputation. Oh, and we already got it. Cool. Okay. Awesome. So let's just go around and finish this up. We can get the 2 bigger chests. That'll speed things up, actually. Because now that we've completed the Iron Wolf reputation, we don't have to worry about, like, being a gamer in the Helltide. We can just, like, do whatever we feel like doing now. We really shouldn't have to come back in here. We can basically switch to all nightmare dungeons and pits now. I wish I could make this jump. That would be sick. Could have made it from here, though. Oh, that's not even where the chest is. Oops. I guess it's still good experience to open the smaller chests. I gotta get used to the pup picking stuff up too. One more small chest over there. Let's just go ahead and get it. We leached off that dude nice. The build feels a little underpowered, but it's because my Paragon board isn't leveled at all. They changed that threat level icon, that's cool. The game's really gone like the opposite direction, from giving you garbage to giving you an abundance of shit. Okay, we don't have to come back for any of those. Let's get rid of the resourcefulness potion, though. No greater fixes, can just crunch all of it. Okay, and the real reason we were doing that was to rank up our Iron Wolf reputation. And then now the second Barbarian has done his job. He got us the last cache, which is going to give us the spark that we need. Bunch of Stygian stones. And there it was, spark number 4. The dog was picking up stuff a little fast. I guess I should, in the wardrobe, de-equip the pet next time something like that happens. Damn, that's just pretty sweet movement speed on there. Definitely like that. Okay, and then what we'll do is we'll switch to our level 100 Barbarian and craft the Shako so that there's no bullshit with that. I don't know why he's telling me Masterworking's unlocked. I literally can't even afford to masterwork anything. I hate when that happens. Alright, so we've got priority requests for opening the pit, for facing Uber Lilith and masterworking. No big deal there. Okay, let's just throw this thing in the stash, I guess. This is like our stuff that we're actually equipping. You get these treasure bags from the goblins. Surprisingly, we didn't see any goblins, but now goblins are dropping either a rare or legendary bag, and they just have shit in it, like a 925 Rage of Haragath. This one's like okay, the DR's okay, and the crit strike chance is okay, but I think our Rage of Haragath is like basically perfect. Yeah, exactly. It's got to be literally perfect to be replaceable. It's got to have 8% critical strike chance, 14% DR bleeding, and a perfect roll on the lucky hit. So a lot of our uniques are like that, where it would take like a perfect unique to replace it. Okay, let's switch over to our other guy. We just have a ton of mules and 2 Eternal Realm characters. We're gonna thin all this out though. As soon as we can focus on just greater affixes, we'll be able to get rid of all those mules. So this guy is in the Bash setup. You can tell he's in the Bash setup because he's got topazes in his equipment, and basically everything just has Bash cleaves on it. Bash is a very boring playstyle, especially entry level. You just have the 3 shouts plus Iron Skin. You walk forward up to a pack, you steal grasp and pull everything in, and then you bash him to death. It's literally just a pit pusher. It's the only use for it. That's why we need 2 characters. We need 1 character that's in a speed farm setup, and we need 1 character that's in a pit push setup. So we can probably like dumb down our Whirlwind build even more. Our Whirlwind build's like in a hybrid setup that can pit push also. Okay, let's craft the Shako. Alright, transmutation. Okay, so they fixed this in the patch too. So they were missing one of the recipes for the Varshan items. All my Varshan mats are actually on my other character right now. I've got to decide who the bosser is, and it's probably going to be this guy. And then now with 4 sparks, what I can do is I can make any uber unique of my choice, right? So Shako is the obvious choice. I did get a Doombringer from Tormented Duriel on this character, and I have a Doombringer on my Eternal character. So I was debating whether or not to salvage the Doombringer for a spark, but it costs 4 sparks to make 1 uber, and when you salvage, you only get 1 spark. So it's really not worth it at all to salvage the 1 uber that I've got versus just making another character and grinding up the Iron Wolf reputation. So 2 barbs is going to be the maximum amount of barbarians that I have. I don't need more than 2 in a season. You just want to be able to wear 2 sets of gear and have, like, I'm making up for the fact that there's no armory by having 2 barbarians so that I can have my pit push and my speed farm variant. But I could have just as easily done like a Sork and had that be the speed farmer or whatever. But it's just a lot to learn. Like, for each class, you have so much that you need to know about the class that you have to have a lot of time on your hands to learn multiple classes, basically, which I do not. Not like I don't spend a ton of time in this game already, but I definitely don't have the time or mental capacity to learn additional characters in this level of depth. Okay. So the other Ubers that are really hot right now are Turiel's Might, because it's got just an absolute ton of defensive stuff on it. I believe it's got damage reduction, Resall, and then increase Resall. So like it can bring your resistance up to the 85% cap single-handedly, which is really powerful. Grandfather is obviously really good for doubling critical strike damage. I think there's some double dipping going on in the bleed variants. At least that's what people are kind of hinting at. Ring of Starless Skies is just a good damage boost. It's basically just reads 40% increased damage, which is like a very high damage increase. That's along the lines of you have Ramaladini's Magnum Opus, which gives you kind of like a scaling multiplier all the way to a 2x, just like Grandfather, which is a 2x. And then you've got Edge Masters, which can be a 1.4. You've got Limitless Rage, which is a 1.6. And then you've got Ring of Starless Skies, which is a 1.4. Tybalt's Will also used to be a 1.4 and was nerfed down to a 1.2. Melted Heart makes it so that like your incoming damage is converted into a reduction in resource first before it starts taking away your life. So that's really good for staying alive. The Shako is obviously awesome because it's +4 to all skills, and then damage reduction and CDR, so it kind of has everything you need on the hat. Doombringer is good because of the percent life increase, and if you get greater affix, percent max life, and then triple masterwork it, that's obviously incredible. And then Ondariel's Visage, I don't know too much about other than a Poison Rogue could specifically use this. So it probably works with the ring that also is about DOT. But I guess this is like something to do with having good DOT effects. Okay, so without further ado, let's go ahead and craft our Harlequin quest. We can get lucky and get greater affixes. We're not going to count on that, and then it should be completely max rolled. The Uber Uniques do not have ranges. They are all just always max rolled, and then they can get greater affixes on top of them. Okay, Harlequin Crest. Okay, so we did not get any greater affixes, but we've got the CDR. It comes with 20% flat DR and +4 ranks. That doesn't change, but then everything else gets increased by masterworking. So the cooldown reduction gets increased by masterworking, and so does the max life. And we would want a triple hit on cooldown reduction with our masterworking. So now that we got our hat, we can basically focus on pit pushing with this guy, and then we'll build our other barbarian, continue to build him into a speed farmer, and do the highest level nightmare dungeons we can until we've got the glyphs where we need them. And we'll stick a ruby in there, and there we go. Yay, Shako. So cool. And then when we go into abilities, everything that's a skill gets +4. So like our Steel Grasp now gets the benefit of a lot of cooldown. So the cooldown on this, 5.05. If we take the hat off, the cooldown is 6.53. So it looks like we get a second and a half just from those 4 ranks. And then on top of that, it's going to be impacted by the cooldown reduction, right? And then we need to get cooldown reduction on necklace now. Is going to be a priority, and we've got a lot of necklaces that have greater affix CDR on it, which we're going to try and incorporate. But yeah, no, this is great. And then I think one more thing we can do is we can put the final imprint of Rapid on this piece. Now that that's maxed out, and everything should be maxed. Undying is maxed. Might's maxed. Hectic is maxed. Moonrise. Edge Masters. Intercom. Rapid. Adaptability. Bold Chieftains. And Iron Warrior. Awesome. And then the only uniques are Pain Gorgers and Shako. And this is the Rob-like beginner variant for Bash. So there's a whole bunch of Bash variants, and then there's a whole bunch of Bleed variants with Rupture, and then either Rupture and Bash or Rupture and Flay. So, yeah, a lot of cool stuff going on this season. Expansions announced. You can see dudes with the expansion wings on. That's cool, good for them. A lot of MTX going around. But just in general, the game's in a pretty good spot. And we can basically just be looking for greater fixed gear now and doing all the min-max stuff, and in pretty good position to take a break here when we have both of these guys where they kind of need to be, and then we'll delete a bunch of the mules and stuff and wait for the expansion. I don't think we're going to play any seasons in between this and the expansion at this point. I don't see why we would want to risk wasting our time on the odd level season when we know that the odd number team is not as good as the even team. So the way this should time out is Season 5 happens, and then Season 6 in October coincides with the Vessel of Hatred launch. So that's when we'll play again. Awesome. All right. Thanks a lot, guys. Take care. Have a good one.